Welcome back. Today, we explore the value of these most valuable Abraham wheat pennies that are sold out for huge money at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark that features a cut line. If you're curious about how such a coin affects the value in today's market, or if you own one yourself, this video is for you. Stick with us as we explore its history, key features, and, of course, its value in today's auction market. To understand the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, we have to step back to a time when America was rebuilding after World War II. The 1949 penny was minted during a period of economic growth and stability. People were heading back to work, and the country was enjoying a period of peace and prosperity. The wheat penny design, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, was still in circulation, and it was a familiar sight to Americans of the day. While millions of 1949 Lincoln wheat pennies were minted, what sets some of them apart is not just the year or the mint mark, it's the condition of the coin and, in some cases, unique characteristics, such as the cut line we're focusing on today. But before we get into the details, let's take a look at the coin's key features. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny follows the traditional design introduced in 1909, but with subtle differences depending on the year it was minted. The 1949 version, especially those without a mint mark, is notable for its simplicity and clean design. On the obverse, we see the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the words "In God We Trust" and "In Liberty" inscribed around the image. The year 1949 is prominently displayed beneath Lincoln's bust. The reverse showcases the classic wheat stalks, which represent America's agricultural backbone, and the inscription Pluribus Unums, along with 1 cent and United States of America at the top. This design continued to circulate until the Lincoln Memorial reverse took over in 1959. Now, one of the key aspects we need to discuss is the cut line on this coin. A cut line usually occurs when a coin is damaged, either during its production process or through improper handling, and it can affect the coin's overall appeal to collectors. Let's dive deeper into how this impacts the coin's value. A cut line refers to a deep groove or line that's visible on the surface of the coin. It can happen for a few reasons, such as being struck by another object or damaged in some other way during circulation. These lines can significantly affect the appearance of the coin, making it less pristine compared to coins that are free from such damage. Coins with cut lines often see a reduction in their value due to the impaired condition. However, that doesn't mean they lose all worth. The degree of damage, location of the cut line, and whether the coin is still legible or retains significant features all play a role in determining its price. In the case of the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny with a cut line in fine condition, the damage is noticeable but not so severe that it completely destroys the coin's value. For collectors, this creates a unique scenario, one where the coin's historical significance and rarity still hold weight, but the condition must be carefully assessed. Now let's talk about coin grading, particularly fine condition. Coins in fine condition show moderate wear but still retain much of the key details. For a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, you'll see that the Lincoln portrait remains recognizable, and the wheat stalks on the reverse still hold some definition. In a fine condition coin, you'll notice that the high points, like the details of Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks, are still visible, but they've lost some of their sharpness. A cut line in this grade would be noticeable, but won't detract entirely from the coin's collectible value. Even though the cut line is a significant factor, collectors still appreciate the historical value and the rarity of finding a 1949 penny in fine condition. Coins with cut lines like this one still hold appeal for those looking to complete their Lincoln wheat penny series. Now, let's get to the big question. What is the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark with a cut line in fine condition worth? In today's auction market, a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition can fetch anywhere from $590 to $600, depending on the severity of the damage and how well the coin has been maintained overall. When a cut line is present, the value may drop slightly, perhaps around $780 to $1,000, because collectors tend to prefer coins without significant damage. However, rarity and historical significance still play a major role in its pricing. Coins that have been professionally graded and authenticated may fetch higher prices, especially if the cut line is minor and doesn't detract from the coin's overall appeal. If your 1949 penny with a cut line is well preserved despite the damage, expect it to be on the higher end of this price range. If you're a collector or investor looking to buy or sell a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny with a cut line, here are a few tips to keep in mind. First, always check for authenticity and grading. A coin's value can be significantly impacted by its certification. If you're selling, consider having your penny graded by a trusted service like PCGs or NG. If you're buying, ensure you're purchasing from a reputable source that provides clear images of the coin and a return policy in case you're not satisfied. Next up, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark. This particular coin is an important piece of American numismatic history, and if you've got one in your collection, you may be sitting on something valuable. We're going to explore its unique features, its historical significance, and most importantly, its value in today's auction market. So let's jump right in. To truly appreciate the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, let's take a step back to the 1950s. Post-World War II, America was experiencing a period of economic growth, with the country in the middle of a consumer boom. This is when the Lincoln wheat penny was still in active circulation, and it was one of the most widely used coins in the United States. The 1955 penny, especially those without a mint mark, carries historical significance for a number of reasons. But what sets it apart in the coin world and what makes it so valuable today comes down to a mix of rarity, condition, and collector's interest. The 1955 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the classic design series that started in 1909, featuring Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, the obverse, and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse. But even though it shares the same general design, the 1955 penny has a few key features that make it particularly noteworthy. On the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice the words "In God, we trust liberty" and the year 1955 right beneath his bust. This particular penny is without a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia, as opposed to the Denver or San Francisco mints that added mint marks to their coins. On the reverse, we have the iconic wheat stalks that give this coin its name, wheat penny. Above the stalks, we have the words "A pluribus unum United States of America" and 1 cent inscribed. It's a simple design that speaks volumes about America's agricultural roots. Now, when it comes to the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, there are a couple of things that make it stand out in today's market. First, this penny is rare enough to be of interest to collectors, especially in certain conditions. While millions were minted, many of them were lost to time, circulated extensively, or damaged, meaning high-quality examples are relatively scarce. Coins in fine condition are much rarer than heavily circulated examples, making them more desirable. So, when we talk about the value of a 1955 penny without mint mark in fine condition, we are specifically looking at a coin that retains strong, readable features but shows some light wear from circulation. You'll still see the details of Lincoln's portrait, but there will be signs of wear on the high points, like the cheek and hair. The wheat stalks on the reverse will also show wear, but remain clearly. To understand why this coin is valuable, we need to talk about coin grading. Fine condition coins have noticeable wear, but they still maintain enough detail for collectors to appreciate. For 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, here's what we look for. The obverse will show signs of wear on Lincoln's face and hair, but the features are still fairly well defined. The reverse, particularly the wheat stalks, will show wear, but the overall design remains intact. Essentially, a fine condition coin has been through circulation, but hasn't been overly damaged. A coin in fine condition won't be as sharp as one in extra fine or mint state, but it should still look presentable with visible details. If you have a 1955 penny that looks like this, you're holding a valuable piece of history. In today's market, a 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition can range from $100 to $150 depending on its level of preservation. However, a penny in excellent fine condition with more legible features may fetch closer to the $180 mark or even higher. Coins that have been professionally graded and verified by services like PCGs or NGC could be priced even higher, especially if they're particularly well preserved despite their circulation. Over the past few years, the market for 1955 wheat pennies has seen modest increases. With many collectors looking to complete their wheat penny collections, this coin's value has remained steady, especially for coins that are well preserved. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark. This penny, though showing full damage and a distinct color shade, still holds value in the market. If you've stumbled upon one of these, you might be curious about its worth. In today's video, we'll break down its value in the current auction market, how the damage and color shade impact its price, and what collectors are willing to pay for it. Let's get started. Cut to vintage footage or images of the 1940s in the US post-Great Depression, World War II era, showcasing the economic environment of the time. To understand the significance of the 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny, let's first take a step back to 1940. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and World War II was just beginning to intensify. The Lincoln Wheat penny was part of everyday life for millions of Americans during this time, and it was minted in large quantities by the US Mint. However, what we're specifically looking at today is a 1940 penny without a mint mark, which was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. These pennies are part of the famous Wheat Penny series, which featured Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and wheat stalks on the reverse, a design that lasted from 1909 until 1958. While millions of these pennies were produced, those with unique characteristics, such as specific dates, mint marks, and conditions often become the focus of collectors, especially in today's coin market. Let's take a closer look at the key features of this particular coin. On the obverse, we have Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln are the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1940 as this penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. You'll notice that there is no mint mark under the. On the reverse, we see the well-known wheat stalk design with the words "A pluribus unum" and "United States of America's" inscribed above and below the phrase 1 cent. This design is iconic, representing America's agrarian roots and paying homage to the nation's farming history. Now, let's get into the condition of this specific 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny. When we talk about full damage, we mean that the coin has been subjected to significant wear and tear over time. You might notice scratches, dings, and discoloration, which can significantly affect the overall value of the coin. Coins in full damage condition have lost much of their original sharpness. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait may appear worn, with noticeable scratches and discoloration. The reverse may show a lack of detail in the wheat stalks, and the words might be faint or obscured. Damage to the surface of the coin might also result in a color shade that is different from the normal copper tone, often brown or darkened due to age, exposure to environmental factors, or improper storage. The color shade of a coin can be a critical factor in its valuation, especially when a coin is in full damage condition. Normally, Lincoln Wheat pennies are made of copper, which naturally ages to a brownish-red color over time. However, oxidation, corrosion, or environmental exposure can lead to a coin changing color, sometimes resulting in a dark brown or even a blackened shade. When a coin shows signs of color change or tarnishing in full damage condition, collectors often view it as less desirable compared to coins that have maintained their original copper tones. However, some collectors are still drawn to these discolored pennies for their unique appearance. In some cases, a penny with a distinctive color might actually appeal to a niche market, particularly if the damage or color is considered unique or aesthetically interesting. While the 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is fairly common, the full damage condition and color shade significantly affect its value. A penny in full damage condition could range anywhere from $700 to $900 depending on the severity of the damage and how collectors perceive the color shade. For example, some 1940 wheat pennies in full damage condition have sold at auction for as little as $980, especially if the damage is extensive and the color change is undesirable. However, a coin with mild damage and a unique color could fetch $1,000 to $1,200. Coins that have been well maintained, even with damage, may attract a slightly higher price due to the demand for this particular year. Next up, 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, but not just any penny. This coin has no mint mark and is in dirty condition. You might be wondering, can this coin still be valuable, even with all the dirt and wear? Well, you're in the right place to find out. Stay tuned as we break down its worth in the current auction market and explore what makes it unique. First, let's take a quick trip back in time to 1956. This was the year the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny was minted. The country was booming post-Whitty and the economy was seeing growth. The Lincoln wheat penny, introduced in 1909, was still in circulation and became a staple of U.S. currency until 1958. During the 1950s, the penny's design remained largely the same, with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the familiar wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1956 penny, minted in Philadelphia, does not have a mint mark, which means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a detail that plays a role in its value, especially for collectors focused on minting history. Let's take a closer look at the key features of this coin. On the obverse front, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln are the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and of course, the 1956 date. As this coin was minted in Philadelphia, you'll notice there is no mint mark under the date. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic wheat stalks with the phrase "E pluribus unums" above and United States of America and 1 cent below. This reverse design, used on the wheat pennies, was part of an effort to honor America's agricultural roots. Now, let's talk about the condition of this penny. You might notice that the coin is in dirty condition. There are visible marks, scratches, and a layer of dirt or grime on its surface. Over time, coins accumulate dirt, oil, and other substances, especially if they're not stored properly. This kind of dirt buildup can obscure the fine details of the coin, making it look aged and worn out. The coin's dirtiness means that the fine details, such as Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks, might be harder to distinguish. In many cases, collectors would prefer coins in cleaner or better preserved conditions, as dirt can lower a coin's overall aesthetic appeal and market value. But does this mean the coin is worthless? Not quite. Let's keep going to find out. So how much can you expect to get for a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition? Well, the 1956 wheat penny is quite common. Millions of these pennies were minted, and as a result, they don't carry a huge premium over their face value, especially when in poor condition. In dirty condition, the 1956 penny typically sells for about $400, depending on the severity of the damage. If the coin has been cleaned up or has a bit of shine left, it may be worth slightly more, maybe up to $690 or $800. But for the most part, because of the dirt buildup, it's unlikely to fetch much higher than that, even in today's market. So there you have it, the 1956 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in dirty condition. While it may not be one of the most valuable pennies in your collection, it still has a story to tell and a place in history. With so many of these pennies in circulation, it's the condition that will determine the final value, and even a dirty coin might have some value to the right collector. Next up, the 1927 Lincoln wheat penny with the large date and D mint mark. If you've come across one of these pennies in your collection, you might be wondering how much it could be worth in today's market. Well, stick around because we'll explore its value, condition, and what makes this coin so special. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1927 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities, with the large date variety being one of the key details that collectors look for. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln wheat series, which was introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The obverse features Lincoln's iconic portrait, while the reverse shows two wheat stalks, framing the phrase once. The 1927 penny was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but today we're specifically focusing on the Denver Mint version, marked with the D Mint mark. The large date variety has become a favorite for many collectors, thanks to the distinctiveness of the larger digits on the date. Now, let's take a closer look at the key features that make the 1927 Lincoln Wheat penny stand out. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's profile, we find the words "In God, we trust liberty" and 1927, with the large date distinguishing this variety from others. If you're holding a 1927 large date, you'll notice the numbers are larger and more spread out compared to other years, making this a collectible feature. On the reverse, the design includes two wheat stalks framing the words United States of America, and a pluribus unum below these. The coin features the denomination 1 cent. This reverse design was used throughout the wheat penny series and adds a timeless feel to this coin. Next, let's talk about the condition of this penny. The coin we're discussing today is in fine condition. But what does that mean? Well, a fine condition coin will show clear details, but some wear is visible. The design will still be sharp and well defined, although the coin might have some scratches, blemishes, or minor discoloration due to circulation. However, in fine condition, the features on Lincoln's face, the wheat stalks, and the mint mark should still be easily identifiable. In a fine condition coin, you can expect to see Lincoln's face clearly, the wheat stalks still well defined, and the mint mark visible. The date should be legible, but there may be some wear in the finer details, such as Lincoln's hair and the wheat heads. A fine grade falls between very good and extra fine on the coin grading scale. You're probably wondering, how much can you expect to get for a 1927 Lincoln Wheat penny in fine condition? Let's dive into the current market value. While the 1927 penny in fine condition isn't as rare as some other years, it is still considered a valuable piece for collectors. The price of these coins can vary depending on several factors, such as demand, the state of the market, and the specific grade. In today's auction market, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat penny with the D Mint mark in fine condition can typically sell for anywhere from $250 to $300. It's important to note that this value is for coins that are in fine condition. If the coin were in extra fine or mint state condition, it could fetch higher prices. For a well-maintained fine coin, expect something around the $420, $550 range on. Now, what makes the 1927 Lincoln Wheat penny so valuable despite being produced in relatively large numbers? The value of any coin depends on rarity, demand, and condition, and these are the factors that come into play when assessing the price of this penny. The 1927 Denver minted penny is more common than some of its rarer counterparts, but it still carries demand from collectors who are looking to complete their sets of Lincoln Wheat pennies. Rarity plays a significant role in determining value, but so does collector interest. Because of the large date variety, the 1927 penny is considered a special edition within the series, and collectors actively seek it out. The D Mint mark also adds some uniqueness to the coin, as not every 1927 penny was produced at the Denver Mint. To wrap up, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat penny with D Mint mark in fine condition is a great find for any collector. While not the most valuable penny in the world, it holds significant historical and numismatic value. If you have one of these in your collection, you're holding a piece of American history that's well worth preserving. Next up, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny with a large date and D Mint mark in full damage condition. We're going to explore its value in today's auction market, what makes it stand out, and how much it might fetch despite its condition. Stay tuned to find out. First, let's go over a bit of background on this coin. The 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny was part of the series minted between 1909 and 1958, which features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse. The 1939 penny is part of the early 20th century production, a time when coin collecting was starting to gain popularity among hobbyists. In fact, this penny is from a year when the US Mint was producing coins in large quantities, making this particular penny relatively easy to find in circulation at the time. One thing to note about the 1939 penny is the large date variety, which stands out due to its bolder, more distinct numbers compared to the smaller date versions from other years. Additionally, the D Mint mark tells us this penny was minted at the Denver Mint, adding an extra element to its uniqueness. Although it's not the rarest of years for this coin, its large date variety makes it a sought-after piece for many. Now, let's address the condition of this particular coin, full damage condition. You might be wondering what this actually means. A coin in full damage condition is one that has undergone significant wear or physical alteration due to circulation. This can include things like scratches, dents, discoloration, and heavily worn details. In the case of the 1939 penny, Lincoln's portrait might be heavily worn, and the details of the wheat stalks could be barely visible. The date and mint mark may still be legible, but they will show signs of fading. A coin in full damage condition typically won't have the sharpness and clarity that a coin in fine or very fine condition would have, but it still holds some collectible value, especially for those who appreciate coins with a bit of character. So, how much can a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny in full damage condition actually be worth? Well, it all depends on the combination of condition, rarity, and market demand. As we mentioned, the 1939 penny isn't exactly rare, with millions being produced by the Denver Mint. However, condition plays a crucial role in its value. In full damage condition, the coin's value drops significantly compared to one in unblemished or mint state condition. However, even a coin with heavy wear and damage can have some value, especially if it's a part of a complete set or if the large date and D-mint mark are still discernible. Now, let's talk value. In today's market, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny with D-mint mark in full damage condition generally has a value between $1,000 and $1,300. This is considerably less than what a penny in fine condition or extra fine condition would fetch, which can range between $1,500 and $2,000 or even higher, depending on the demand and the quality of the coin. Coins in full damage condition typically sell for lower amounts because collectors are usually looking for coins with more visual appeal and legible details. However, even damaged coins like the 1939 Lincoln penny still have some value, especially in bulk sales, where collectors might buy them in lots for the sake of filling gaps in their collections. But make no mistake, a coin in full damage isn't going to fetch top dollar like those in better. So, why does a coin with full damage still have some value? It all comes down to the intersection of rarity, demand, and condition. While the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny itself is not the rarest penny out there, collectors are still interested in completing full sets of coins from different years, especially those that feature mint marks like the D-mint mark. Even in damaged condition, the coin is a piece of American history, and there's always demand for it among dedicated collectors. The 1939 large date with D-mint mark remains a desirable piece for those looking to complete their wheat penny collections, even if the coin has seen better days. So while its value may not be high due to the damage, it still holds its place in the greater context of coin collecting. So there you have it, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and D-mint mark in full damage condition. While it might not be worth as much as its higher grade counterparts, it still holds a place of value for collectors, especially those who love to find unique pieces with some history and character. If you have one in your collection, remember that even damaged coins can still have some worth. Thanks for watching today's video. If you have a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny or any other coins you want to learn more about, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates on coin collecting. Until next time, keep on searching for those rare finds.